You ever hear about the guy at a Baton Rouge church barbecue who got cuffed for carrying a concealed pistol? He wasn't drinking, wasn't waving it around, just had it tucked on his waistband. Turns out the church never gave written permission, and that made him a criminal. Welcome to Louisiana, one of the most gun-friendly states in the South, until it isn't. Because if you carry in the wrong place, say the wrong thing, or skip one line of the law, your rights don't protect you. And now with new permitless carry laws on the books, the stakes are even higher. Because everyone's armed, but not everyone knows what they're doing. Let's fix that. Section 1, Permitless Carry, a new era, a new risk. Since July 4th, 2024, if you're 18 or older and legally allowed to own a gun, you can now carry concealed without a permit in Louisiana. That's right, no paperwork, no classes, just your right to bear arms. Sounds like freedom, and it is. But here's where it goes sideways. A 19-year-old in Shreveport was walking near a high school football field. Totally legal carry, until you realize there's a 1,000-foot school gun-free zone. Cops stopped him. Gun was legal, location wasn't. That's how fast it happens. One sidewalk, one building, one charge. And New Orleans? They're rewriting the map to trap you. Section 2. New Orleans and the backdoor gun bans. City leaders in New Orleans weren't happy about permitless carry, so they got clever. They started calling police stations vocational schools. That trick lets them ban firearms within 1,000 feet of those buildings. Now imagine walking past a French Quarter precinct, completely unaware. You've just broken the law, no sign, no warning, just surprise, you're trespassing. They're creating invisible fences with new labels, and if you don't know the game, you're the one getting played. And that's not the only landmine hiding in plain sight. Section 3, where guns get you busted. Here's a fact too many people learn too late. Permitless carry doesn't mean carry everywhere. You walk into a courthouse, a school, a polling place, or a church without written permission, and you're done. Even if you're legal to carry, the location itself flips the switch. And alcohol? You hit a blood alcohol level of just 0.5. That's 2 drinks for some people. You lose your carry rights instantly. This isn't California, but it's still the South. They want you armed, not reckless. And what happens if you're ever forced to draw that weapon? Louisiana's got your back, but only if you're standing on the right ground. Section 4, Castle Doctrine and stand your ground. In Louisiana, if someone breaks into your house, your car, or even your business, you don't have to run. You're legally allowed to defend yourself with deadly force if you believe your life's in danger. No duty to retreat, no hesitation required. And that goes for the parking lot too. But fair warning, if you pull that trigger, it better be justified. Because once you squeeze, you're not just carrying a gun anymore. You're carrying the burden of explaining it to a jury. Which brings us to the question a lot of new carriers ask. Section 5, if I don't need a permit, why get one? Here's the thing, you don't need a permit to carry in Louisiana anymore. But that permit still does a lot behind the scenes. One of our guys was pulled over in Georgia, showed his Louisiana concealed handgun permit. Officer saw it, nodded, let him go. It ended in 30 seconds. No gun drawn, no hands-on dash drama. That permit tells other states you're legit. It speeds up gun purchases. It gives you legal ground in court if something ever goes wrong. So, yeah, you don't need it here, but if you ever leave Louisiana, it might be the smartest piece of paper in your wallet. But let's say you don't leave the state. That doesn't mean you're safe from trouble, especially if you sell your gun to the wrong person. Section 6, private sales can still sink you. Louisiana lets you sell a gun to another private citizen with no background check required. It's old school freedom. But if that person's a felon, or even just not allowed to own a firearm, and you knew or should have known, that sale is now your problem. You won't just lose your gun, you could lose your freedom. And speaking of felons, if you're one and you're caught with a firearm, Louisiana hits hard. Section 7, felons, firearms, and hard labor. If you've got a felony on your record, don't even look at a gun. Louisiana doesn't just fine you, you're looking at 5 to 20 years at hard labor, and yes, that's still a thing here. No plea deals, no probation. You're going to Angola or a state pen. So if you've got that kind of history, don't roll the dice. You're not the exception. But don't worry, Louisiana also didn't roll the dice on red flag laws like other states did. Section 8. No red flag laws, no surprise confiscations. You know how in some states, a neighbor or an ex can call a judge and say, "I think he's dangerous," and boom, the cops come knocking and take your guns with no warning? That's a red flag law, and Louisiana said hell no. Here, they respect due process. You don't lose your rights unless it's in a courtroom and both sides are heard. At Relax Fit Tactical, we stand behind that. Because if you're trusted to carry a weapon, you should be trusted to use your judgment. But if you're carrying around the house or at the range, there's one thing we haven't covered, and it's actually kind of fun. Section 9, suppressors are legal, but yes, suppressors, also called silencers, are 100% legal in Louisiana. But don't just screw one on and head to the swamp. You still have to go through federal paperwork, background checks, and the $200 tax stamp. Skip that, and the ATF will find you faster than a gator finds a chicken bone. So yeah, suppressors, awesome. But follow the rules or it's 10 years Fed time. Now, before we wrap, there's one law-adjacent fact about Louisiana that'll make you laugh or cringe. Section 10, guns are legal. But masks, not so much. You can legally carry a concealed firearm in most of Louisiana. But if you wear a mask in public on any day except Mardi Gras, that's actually illegal. The only day of the year you're legally allowed to wear a face covering in public is Fat Tuesday. It's been that way since the 1800s. So yeah, carry a Glock? Cool. Wear a Batman mask in August? That's a misdemeanor, only in Louisiana. Look, you've got more freedom than ever in this state, but it comes with tripwires. You don't get a second chance if you screw this up. If you carry, carry smart. Know your ground, watch your surroundings, and always remember, it's not about looking tactical, it's about being prepared. At Relax Fit Tactical, we build gear that makes it easy to carry, discreetly, comfortably, and easy. From joggers to shorts to belly bands, we help you stay ready without standing out. But if you want to stand out and say F you to anti-gunners, check out our amazing Second Amendment shirts. Because freedom should fit better. Stay legal, stay lethal, stay relaxed.